Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. Hello. We have our cast here. Thank you for joining our September town hall for DataHub. As you could see, we have quite a cast of players here, and we have a lot of exciting announcements. And so, my name is Mika Yuk, and I am a new community manager here at DataHub as a part of Acryl Data. We have our fearless CTO, Shashanka Das. Say hi, Shashanka. We then have Miss Maggie Hayes. I think almost everybody knows Miss Maggie Hayes. She is our founding community product manager. Say, hey, Maggie.
Hello, hello. Great to see everybody.
Hello. Then we have a new face. We have Harshal Sheth from our team. He's one of our founding engineers. Hello.
Hey,
Hello. And then we have our guest of honor, which is our exciting case study from Zynga. We have Surukara and we have Felipe. Say hi, Surukara.
hello, hello.
Hello. And Felipe.
Hello, glad to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited. So we're very excited to be here. We have an exciting lineup. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, if you're new here, please go ahead and like our page. For the Acryl page, we do these LinkedIn lives. We also have this stream running live on LinkedIn. So as we go ahead and get started in the chat here, as usual, before I take everybody off, can you guys tell us where everybody is from? We'd love to hear your location. We did this last time. There's a lot of people across the world. We would absolutely love to hear where everybody is from. So where are you guys from? Let's go ahead and put that in the comments, and then I will go ahead and get us set up. Yay! Yeah, Maggie's in Chicago. Is it cold already in Chicago, Maggie?
Not yet. It's only a matter of time before we go into the dark, cold days.
The dark cold days. Okay, nice. All right. Okay, I see we have India, Delhi here. This is awesome. Yay! Frankfurt. Okay, good. Wow. Brooklyn. Yeah. New York City. All right. Hey, Sachin. I recognize you from the community. We got India here. All right. Where else? Who do we have and where are you? We got Canada. Nice. I think Felipe, you and so you guys are in Canada, right? We have Israel. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
We have Brazil. Yay. Indy. All right.
I'm in
So
the
worldwide.
house.
Nice, San Francisco. Okay, good. All right, so keep it coming. I'm going to go ahead and get us started here, but keep it coming, Budapest. And our team will be interacting in the chat, so feel free to leave your questions. I am going to try to bring some of you on, some of your questions on the screen this time, but thank you guys so much. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, give me a minute here, and we are going to get started here. All right, so go ahead and please and continue to put where you're from on the screen. Just 1 second here. Yeah. All right. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to have been at Current with our team, we'd love to hear from you as well. So if by any chance you were at Current, please let us know in the comments. We had quite a team there, and we had a great presentation. Yeah, I'm not showing my screen as yet. I see the comments here. We had a great presentation at Current, and we had a party last night. So if by any chance you were at Current, definitely let us know in the comments. All right, let me get my screen loaded here. I am aware, and let us get started. Okay, let us go ahead and get started. Am I good now? Yes. Okay. All right. Hopefully I'm back and we're not having any audio issues. Can everybody hear me in the comments? Are we good? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, welcome, welcome. And so, I want to start out first. We have a very packed agenda, as I said. So, I will kick off by doing a few updates about the community. So, no surprise, the community is growing. We're excited. We're then going to just talk a little bit about where you guys could join us in the fall. I'll bring on Shashanka for that. We then have some exciting project updates that is going to come from Shashanka and Maggie. We then have some exciting product roadmap updates that is going to come from Maggie on DataHub and Acryl. We then are going to hear from Harshal in terms of our data contracts in action. We then have a sneak peek in terms of our UI editable properties and entity verification. And then last but not least, we are going to hear from our awesome case study customers, leveling up data management with Zynga's Data Hub journey. So we're super duper excited. We have a really jam-packed session here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first was community updates. So we are excited. We have a lovely growing community in Slack. If you guys could see below, I did put the link to Slack for you guys to join us. We are now, guys, peaking at 25 people away from 9,000 members in Slack. So we're at 8,975. We are growing and on fire. If you are in our community, definitely type Slack in the comments. We're so excited. In addition, we have over 1,400 weekly active users. We've had over 6,000 messages posted just within the last 30 days and over 700 reactions. So needless to say, our Slack community is growing for DataHub and we are not going to stop, and we're excited to have you guys in here. Now, to the important part for our development, our developers and our data engineers. So on average, we have about 35 PRs that have been open within the past 4 weeks. And on average, we have about 503 support messages, okay? So you could see here, I think our flow is pretty steady. Over the summer, things were just slightly quiet, but now that people are back, it's super exciting. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys are pushing those PRs, just keep it coming. Again, if you're not in our Slack community, I did put it on the screen. It's slack.datahubproject.io. Please go ahead and join us. We'll be excited to have you guys there. Okay, now I want to do some community shoutouts. So the great thing about our community is that there is no way with our team that we could support a community without the help of a lot of amazing people. So without going into full detail, these are some of the amazing people within our Slack group. Like if you're about to join, you can find these people that continue to support us. So we just want to say a massive thank you to them. And again, there's a much longer list, but these are the people that really get in there. They answer questions and they do it just out of the goodness of their heart. And we just want to make sure that we acknowledge you and we say a massive thank you to Liu and Sachin. Sachin, you're actually in the comments. So thank you so much. I saw you in there. You're in the comments. Thank you so much for all that you do. Sachin is golden. All right. Okay, and then we have some fall conferences. So actually, I wanted to bring back up Shashanka on here. Hey, Shashanka.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. So Shashanka will be, I believe, at both of these conferences on here. So I wanted to bring him back up. And so we are, first of all, we have, the Hacktoberfest, actually. Give me 1 second here. So I'm going to bring up Maggie for a second. So Maggie, could you just talk for a quick second about our Hacktoberfest?
Yes. Absolutely. So we had we participated in Hacktoberfest. Hello, where are my words? We participated in Hacktoberfest for the past 2 years. We're doing the same thing again this year. So for those of you who are not familiar, Hacktoberfest is kind of a broadly open source initiative where if you register for Hacktoberfest, any of your accepted, and I believe their criteria is merged PRs, contributed to open source projects will kind of get you some credit towards the Hacktober Fest prize. So DataHub Project and also DataHub Helm, both of those repos are going to be participating in it. So if you want to make contributions towards the official Hacktoberfest goal, you can absolutely do that. Separately, because we know that we have a ton of PRs coming through all the time, we want to make sure that even if we're not getting it merged right away in October for you, if you open a PR in either of those repos, we will enter you to win one of three prizes. 3 people will win prizes. It'll be a $250 Amazon gift card and our beloved DataHub swag box. So we will be posting a blog post with more details on how you can participate. And we'll just be trying to find ways to kind of promote good candidates for contributions in during the month. But yeah, let's just get together and do some hacking. It's always a good time.
Yay. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Maggie. I do appreciate that. And then next up, I wanted to talk quickly about DBT. So Shashanka, I think you're going to be at DBT, right? I don't know if Maggie, you're coming, but Shashanka, you'll be there. Tell us a little bit what was happening at DBT.
Yeah, I think a large part of the Acryl team is going to be there. We'll have a bunch of updates to our DBT integration like we usually do with our attendance at most major summits. So Looking forward to seeing you all there. And I think Miko is planning some very interesting activities. So I'm really excited to get my shoes on, and we'll explain maybe what that means later on, right?
Yeah, we're excited to see you guys in San Diego. And with that said, we actually have a channel that is really gaining some traction in our Data Hub Slack. So if you guys want to pre-coordinate with us, please definitely join our channel. And Trishanka, if you don't mind mentioning, how did you meet Zynga? Talking about channels.
So it's interesting. Well, the channel, we created a channel on Airflow Summit to get people together, and there were a few people that I met through that. And then at the Airflow Summit, when I presented the actually a part of the talk that you'll see from Harshal later today, and I left the the talk, and I was just hanging out with people from the talk. And Felipe walks up to me and he starts talking. And it turns out he's at Zynga and he's been using DataHub for a really long time. And not only just using, they're actually doing very interesting things with it. They have like 10 people at the company working on DataHub. And we had the Zynga logo, but we didn't really know exactly what Zynga was doing with it. So it was very cool to kind of just have that serendipitous moment of just meeting someone and realizing they were much further along in their journey than we had even anticipated. And fast forward to today, they put their hand up and decided to show up and present what they're doing. So I'm so happy for these kind of moments.
Yeah, and thank you. And they actually joined that Airflow channel. So one of the things that we started doing was creating channels for every event that we attend. And so as you could see, you guys can meet our founders, you can meet our engineers, definitely get into Slack, get in there, and then you have first dibs on happy hour parties and everything else. So I'm just excited because, that's how we met Zynga. Really exciting stuff.
Yep.
Okay, and then we also have another conference that's coming up, a little bit smaller. So we are going to be at Snowflake Data World in Santa Clara, October 30th. If anybody's going to be there, please make sure that you guys, again, come in and join the channel. Let us know. We do actually have a kiosk there, so we look forward to seeing everyone. And Shashanka, I don't know if you're going to be at that one. I think that might be John, right?
Santa Clara, I'll probably be there.
You'll be there as well. Okay, and Maggie, I think you're going to be at DBT, not this one yet. All right. But I know we have a ton of people that are going to be there. So we definitely look forward to seeing everybody there. And then, last but not least here, we have a quick announcement before we get started on project updates. So before I hand over the helm to Maggie and Trishanka, I wanted to announce that we have officially launched our Data Hub Champion program. Yes. Now, as of today, it's invite only, but we will be opening up to nominations and to people to self-nominate themselves in January 2004. But if you're in the community, you guys are going to see some exciting changes that are coming, as well as introduction to our champions. We are just in the process of getting our kickoff started, but I wanted to let you guys know that we officially launched our Data Hub Champion program. So we appreciate everyone who's a part of that. If you are in that program, definitely say hi in the comments. We just really appreciate our champions. Yay. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to Maggie and Shashanka.
Cool. Thank you. Maggie, you're going to handle the slides?
I am trying. Miko, it looks like I may not be able to forward or progress the slides. There we go. Okay.
Cool. So I'll keep it short. DataHub project did a lot of stuff in September. 125 PRs. A little low, I would say. We're generally closer to the 200, but hey, quality trumps quantity sometimes. So these were some pretty good PRs, and I'll cover some of the details on the next slide. But as usual, a lot of great first-time contributors, as well as a lot of repeat contributors. So we'd love to see the project kind of growing while also retaining that core set of contributors to the project. Awesome. So 0.11 was released. And so let's move to the next slide and we can cover what that contained. Awesome. So this is something that we already covered last time. There's user experience improvements, like, you can manage your pinned posts from the UI. And then on the developer experience side, the CLI supports recursive deletes. Metadata ingestion, we have done a couple of improvements. Tableau now supports column level lineage, and we also support DataHub as a source to support migrations from one DataHub instance to another, or from OSS DataHub to Acryl, or all sorts of migrations are now supported, which makes it pretty interesting. You can keep multiple DataHub instances in sync with each other, as long as you know what you're doing. So that's pretty cool. And that's all committed and released as part of 0.11. And we have some very interesting things shaping up for 11.1, which is the next slide. Well, I forgot. We also have unified search and browse as part of 0.11. So now it's, I think, the default for the release. And that means that you no longer have to know which environment variable to set to get that experience. It's going to be always on by default. We're hearing a lot of good feedback about the new changes. And so keep that feedback coming. It helps us understand what you like in the product and what you'd like to do differently. So please let us know. This, of course, includes a lot of the contextual highlighting and things like that as well. So it's a pretty important release for improving discoverability of your data assets. Next up, in one big thing that we released is the ability to sort both by relevance as well as alphabetically, as well as by last modified. So those things should make your data consumers very happy. All right, and nested domains, which I think we shared last time in the town hall, it's coming to 0.11.1. So the next release will have nested domains in it. So you no longer have to have your domain names be all flat and separated with hyphens or whatever you're doing to manage your nested domains today. You'll be able to actually nest them like you would expect. All righty. And then there's a few other big improvements. This one is actually kind of big. On the user experience side, there'll be a new access management tab in the UI. So you'll be able to, if you have access to, no pun intended, if you have access to your access management metadata, you can send those over to DataHub, and then it'll be able to actually render what roles and what privileges individuals have. And then you'll be able to link out to your own in-house access management tool for people to go and get access to things that they don't have access to. So shout out to Ramendra at PayPal for the contrib. The PayPal team has actually been driving this feature, and we're really excited to see them collaborate and push these features in. On the metadata ingestion side, column level lineage, I think there was a question about it. Big improvements to performance there, both on the memory side as well as latency. So we'll see that happening as you upgrade your your client version. DynamoDB, new ingestion source. We keep growing our ingestion source coverage. So DynamoDB is a new source coming in. And then we also now support meta mapping from Avro schemas. So if you're familiar with DBT meta mapping, where you're able to check in your tags and glossary terms and things like that in your DBT models, and you're able to automatically translate them into DataHub concepts, we now support that for Avro schemas in Kafka as well. And there's a doc on that. Go read it up and start teaching your data developers to annotate at source, because that leads to much more sustainable governance. And last but not the least, platform, big feature, support for OpenSearch 2.x. It's been a kind of big ask from the community for us to support Elasticsearch 8 as well as OpenSearch 2.x. And this finally adds that support in, and then we'll follow up with Elastic 8 as well. So that's it, I think, on the project side. And I'll hand it over to Maggie for product updates.
Awesome. Okay, Maggie, are you ready to roll?
I'm ready to go.
All right.
All right. So I'm just going to briefly touch on our near-term roadmap. This is a continuation of what we showed in last month. So just some updates there. Miko, you can go to the next slide, please. All right. So on the open source side of things, as we had planned, we built out and shipped our nested domains. So if you want to kind of watch a deeper kind of tutorial or walkthrough on that, you can take a look at our town hall event from last month. For metadata analytics v2, we have kicked off some initial work here. the idea is that we are going to start supporting time series views of how your metadata has evolved over time. So we've kicked off a little bit of that work there. Entity owners will soon be able to verify their assets. I'm going to do a deep dive into that this session, so we'll kind of skip that one. And then we have some work planned around improvements to data products and data contracts. We have not kicked that off yet, but it's still on our near-term roadmap. In terms of the Acryl cloud side of things, we are continuing our work towards introducing AI into basically generative AI within Acryl's version of DataHub. So to really kind of supercharge the ability to kind of document or annotate your resources in there. We're also going to be kicking off some work later this year on automatic propagation of tags and terms across related entities, specifically around lineage. We also are expanding our subscriptions and notifications functionality out to email and Microsoft Teams. We've kicked off some kind of discovery or initial work there. And then on the Acryl Observe side of things, this is something that John dug into a good amount in our last session, so you could take a look at that recording as well. But the ability to create column metric and custom SQL assertion monitors with Acryl Observe. So plenty of work going on across the board, both on the open source and Acryl Cloud side of things. And yeah, excited that we're making progress there. These quarters just keep flying by, I'll tell you what.
You know, it's interesting because I feel like, just jump back in here, that our last data town hall, it feels like it was 2 days ago when we were talking about sneak peek and nested domains, and now we're like at delivery.
Yeah. Well, and it's, you know, it simultaneously feels like it was 2 days ago and 3 years ago. I don't understand how that's possible. I'm just rolling with the punches, and, and we're continuing to ship some pretty amazing stuff.
We definitely are. And thank you so much. Okay, so let's give Maggie will be back, as will, I believe, Shashanka. Let's thank them very much. I'm now going to actually bring, I'm going to go up and bring one of our founding engineers, Harshal, Sheth, on the screen. Harshal, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hello, hello. Okay, Harshal. So I'm going to go ahead and share your screen, and let's get you rocking and rolling. And he's going to talk a bit about DataHub, data contracts in action. And if I'm correct, Harshal, this is focused on Airflow, correct?
That's right.
Rock and roll time. Okay, so just a reminder, everybody, if you guys have questions, please leave your questions in the comments and we will address them. If they're or your thoughts, I will definitely show them on screen. So go ahead and please leave them in there. And thank you guys so much. All right, let's rock and roll, Harshal.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about some improvements that we've made to our Airflow integration, as well as how you can use Airflow, data contracts, and DataHub all together. So first off, a quick review of what our Airflow integration looks like right now. We map quite a few different concepts from Airflow. You know, we'll pull in metadata around your DAGs, your tasks every time they run, as well as ownership tags if you have additional properties assigned to them, and lineage information. We'll pull those in as well. So what that looks like in the UI, you'll see the pipelines, which are, you know, correspond to your Airflow DAGs. These pipelines have underlying tasks. Those are the operators that you use within your DAG and Airflow. And finally, those tasks or those items have runs that you can see the history of all of the runs. And of course, you can kind of see some lineage based on those as well, you know, from data sets into a job that produced another data set. Now, with our initial rollout of the plugin, of the Airflow plugin, you know, it worked great, but the biggest piece of feedback that we got was that it required manually annotating lineage information on your DAGs. And what that looked like is something like this. You would define inlets and outlets, and then you know, we would construct the lineage from that. But it was kind of tedious to manually define these annotations. And so with the V2 version of our plugin, which we're rolling out with the next CLI release, we will start supporting automatic column level lineage extraction for certain operators. So if you're using the snowflake operator or the BigQuery operator or a similar thing, we'll use the DataHub SQL parser to understand exactly what that query is doing and generate lineage accordingly. And that also works for a couple other sources, a couple other operators as well. And the SQL parsing is a schema-aware parser. And so if you do, like a select star or something like that, we'll actually go and replace that star with the exact queries or with the exact columns that you have within DataHub for that given table, and then parse from there. And so that way we can generate much more high accuracy SQL column level lineage than pretty much any other tool out there. So there's PR up, there will be new docs for it. Super excited to get feedback and hear what you guys think about that. Now, of course, if you can't use custom plugins within Airflow and you're on Airflow 2.7, there is support for open lineage built into Airflow, starting with version 2.7. And there is an open lineage endpoint on the DataHub side that is coming soon that will enable you to use the open lineage plugin with the DataHub. Now, that said, like the native DataHub plugin v2 is kind of a strict superset of the functionality within the open lineage plugin, more operators, better SQL parsing, things like that. And so if you can use custom plugins with Airflow, would absolutely recommend using the v2 plugin. And then if you can't, the open lineage plugin is a good fallback alternative. All right. And now, how do we use data contracts with Airflow in DataHub?
So Harshal, before you continue, there is a question that I wanted to address here.
Yep.
So we had someone ask, Felipe asked, what about custom operators?
Yep. So with custom operators, you can still add annotations. There's also a mechanism for defining or adding a hook to your custom operator that generates the lineage information. And so if it generates lineage in a stable way, you can just define that hook and then we'll call that hook and pull lineage out that way as well. So you've got some options there. There will be more details on that in the doc that goes along with the new plugin. Thanks for the question, Miko.
Okay, and that's Felipe from Zynga. I'll hop off. Thank you.
Awesome. So on data contracts, the DataHub take is that contracts must be verifiable. That means things like schema, data quality checks, nullability, things like that. For more details about why this is the DataHub take and how it actually looks and all of the models and all of that, we talked about it in much more detail in our, I think our July town hall. So be sure to reference that. Now, of course, all of these things will show up in the UI as you'd expect. What does a data contract look like? It'll look something like this. You can define a schema that you expect, freshness, data quality rules accordingly. And let's run through a quick demo of how this actually looks and a scenario of where you might actually use this. So the scenario that we're going to go through here is, there's a payments team and a notifications team. They collaborate on a important table called overdue invoices that lives in Snowflake. Payments is supposed to generate it daily. Notifications is responsible for sending out emails accordingly. You definitely don't want to accidentally send emails to the wrong people or not send emails to the people who need them. So this is a place where these folks might come together, agree on a data contract for that table, and then more than just agree on it, they need to continually verify it and enforce it. So how might they do this? Well, using DataHub, they can come into the YAML spec and define their contract. So here they've defined 3 assertions. The first is a freshness, that it's updated every weekday. Then they've defined a uniqueness check. And finally, they've defined a custom SQL check, which is a new thing that we've introduced. And this way they can add arbitrary data quality rules and not be constrained by the existing checks that we support. And then finally, they would go into the CLI and run a DataHub data contract upsert, and that will pull the contract into the UI as you'd expect. Now, what they can do then is, if they've defined a DAG that updates this SQL, or updates this table and runs some SQL accordingly, and if they run that, we'll see all of the related DAGs and information in the UI as well. So we'll see this is that create overdue invoices job that I just kicked off in Airflow. And right now, if we look at this, I just ran it and it produced new data, and accordingly, the data contract, DataHub automatically picked up the fact that this table was just produced, and then it will be able to automatically check the things that we defined in that data contract specification. And so in this case, we are now failing a certain custom SQL check. In this case, the example is we didn't filter out some test users. And so if I go and make that tweak in here, and then I kick this thing off again, as soon as this thing finishes, DataHub will pick up the fact that the table is not passing, and mark the contract as failing accordingly. And how would you use this information? Well, if you were the downstream consumer of this invoice job, or this invoice table, you might create like a circuit breaker that says only proceed with my processing. If you're the notifications team, only proceed with my processing if this thing is passing its data contract. And so if I kick this off and the contract wasn't passing, it would fail the task, as you can see in the first run. And if the contract was passing, then in the second run that would pass. And by the way, I made that property tweak, or updated the SQL, and now once again the contract is passing because we filtered out those test users, and DataHub has detected that the contract has passed. Cool. So that's how you can use DataHub to define data contracts, continuously evaluate them, and use the automatic lineage generation from Airflow to avoid writing a single annotation on any of your DAGs. Cool.
The interesting thing that I think goes implicit often in this demo is the low latency between the first DAG running the arrival event, triggering the downstream data quality check, and then having the short circuit operator react instantly and pause the downstream DAG. Without kind of the streaming backend that DataHub has, you can't build these kind of control plane style orchestrations of data arrival event, data quality check runs, and then downstream DAG either runs or fails if the check is not met.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, let me know if you have any questions. I should call out that the automatic evaluation piece is something that is purely an Acryl observe, but the remainder of that demo the plugin, defining data contracts, all of those things, the UI are either in open source or going to be in open source very soon.
Very nice. Well, guys, thank you so much. Harshal, great presentation. And I know Shashanka, you rock and roll this at Airflow. So you guys, thank you so much. All right. If you guys have any questions, they're in the chat in LinkedIn or YouTube. Go ahead and post them. As you could see, we're bringing the best questions up. And so without further ado, I'm now going to bring, oh, sorry.
Hey. Oh, there you are. Hey.
Hi. All right. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. All right, so without further ado, let me go ahead and bring you back on screen here. And let's get your slides going. I'm kind of smiling at our last town hall to kind of like bring up a joke that's maybe not a joke, where we were showing some interesting stuff. I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, we were actually accidentally sharing my different screen. It was great.
Yeah, that was a classic. Okay, let's get this up.
We've come a long way.
We have come a long way, and I'm all right. And let's get you down here to what is next. And I think, Maggie, it's rock and roll time.
All right. So I'm extremely excited about the work that we're doing here. So, I think historically, when, within the community and kind of within our product development, our focus has been very much in kind of like metadata completion and kind of metadata coverage without really like a strong opinion about how to enforce that or how to like actually enable your data stewards, your experts on data to actually make that happen. So what I'm going to walk through is at a super high level, a sneak peek of some functionality that we're building out around entity verification. And this is really opening us up into much more compliance-driven use cases and workflows. And so really kind of this exercise to actually verify the accuracy or the kind of reliability or use case of an entity. So Miko, let's go to the next screen, please. In at a very basic level, we are defining a new entity verification workflow in DataHub where an admin or kind of someone who's kind of setting some criteria can define what requirements exist for a data set or an entity verification process. The owner of those entities will then go through and complete the verification process via something that we're calling a form, and then your entity will be verified. So those are kind of like the 3 steps of what we're talking about around kind of entity verification within DataHub. So what does this actually look like? In terms of defining verification requirements, we are introducing a new concept called structured properties. Right now, our existing kind of legacy support for properties is just a basic, key value pair of data. But structured properties will have types. They'll have specific types. They'll have the ability to set something as single or multi-select. So looking at this YAML here, what you'll see is that we're defining 3 different types of requirements. One is setting a planned deletion date, a concrete retention period, and then a consulted compliance officer. So looking at this, our planned deletion date is of type date. You can only select one of them. The retention period is going to be of type string, and we're actually assigning allowed values here. So this is where we can start to say, here are specific criteria or specific definitions or types of this property. The last one is going to just to kind of demonstrate that we are also considering the types of earns or entities within DataHub. So you can say that for a consulted compliance officer, it has to be an earn, and that earn is of type user or group, and I can choose one or multiple of them. So I, as the compliance officer or the admin of DataHub, are setting these requirements, submit that or create these requirements via YAML. And then I'm actually going to go through the process to apply those to entities themselves. So let's see how that's rendered in the next step. So once I have applied or kind of set those criteria, the entity owner is then going to be prompted to fill out this information. So what we're looking at here is a new screen that we're calling this one is specifically a data set verification form, but it's basically these required fields for the owner of this entity to complete in order for the entity to be verified. So what you can see is now we have these different types of questions related back to the requirements we set up in the YAML. So we have a date selector for your planned deletion date. You have a single select for your retention period. And then you have just kind of an open string where you can an open field where you can add your related compliance officer that you worked with. What you'll see on the right-hand side is just a preview of that entity. And it'll also show you that it's, the current status is that it's awaiting documentation, and there are 3 of 3 required questions remaining. So as I'm going through this, I, as the owner of this, if I can pretend that I'm Marissa Harper, as I'm applying these different values, I'm going to be prompted to save it. And that's going to kind of tick away at the form requirements to get you closer to verification. So let's say I go through and I apply all of these values. Yay, I verified my entity. Let's take a look at what this looks like on the entity page itself. So I've gone through that form. What you'll see now is on the entity page, we'll have on the sidebar a new badge that says whether or not it's verified. The other thing I want to call out here is that we also have the ability to set a verification expiration date. So if you want to say that owners need to kind of go through this audit flow every year, every month, anything that, basically anytime you want to like re-trigger that verification process, that's going to show up there as your kind of timestamp of how long it's going to be verified for. The other thing I'll call out here is now what we're seeing in the properties tab, this new view of structured properties. So our planned deletion date, once I apply or complete the form, it's then going to be rendered in the structured properties area. You can see where I've populated my planned deprecation date, my retention period, and the people that I consulted along the way. So this first pass of it is going to be the main entry point of populating these fields will be through that that verification form. But let's take a look at this next slide. I believe this is the next one. Yes, exactly. So what we will be introducing here is the ability to actually edit properties from the UI as well. So you have 2 kind of entry points there of populating that information. And we're also going to be looking into kind of having an audit trail around that. So you can see, who made those edits over time, how the values evolved, et cetera. The other thing I will call out is that right now our verification form is going to be focused on these structured properties, but going forward, anything that is kind of metadata enrichment specific within DataHub can be assigned to those verification requirements. So you could say that every entity needs to have an owner assigned and a domain assigned and a specific set of glossary terms. And that information will be populated within the entity itself as you go. But right now, the scope of it is going to be on the structured properties. In terms of what we are building out are kind of the milestones we're working towards. On the open source side, we're focusing on verification fundamentals. So really, what are the core components or building blocks to enable verification to address these compliance use cases? So for the kind of core the key deliverables here for open source will be the ability to create structured properties and a verification form experience via YAML and interact with that via our API or CLI, and then assigning those verification forms or that criteria out to those entities via CLI and API as well. The entity owner will be filling out that form via the UI, one entity at a time. So really kind of focused on the per entity experience. On the Acryl DataHub side of things, what we're going to be focusing on is really enabling verification at scale. So when your organization has, like I as an owner of data sets, maybe I have 300 or 3,000 data sets that I need to verify. We want to make sure that that's a really smooth user experience for the data stewards to go through that process. So we'll be working on the ability to bulk edit and verify via the UI. And then on the kind of administration side of it, or kind of the application of these forms, will be focusing on providing automated and continuous verification form assignment so that as your data entities evolve, as your criteria changes, you don't have to go through and kind of manually apply those forms again and again. Instead, we'll focus on providing out that continuous and automated form assignment there. So I believe that's it for me. Like I said, I'm very, very excited about this one. I think it's going to really open up a ton of use cases for us, both on the compliance side, metadata completeness side, and really just making sure that, you know, folks are, sorry, Miko, really making sure that folks kind of understand what it means to be a good data steward within DataHub. So yeah, would love any questions or feedback, and we'll be sharing in the community as we have more deliverables to ship out to you.
Yeah, Maggie, thank you so much. There was a question here, but I don't know if it's a question for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and show it on here. I saw that we had people from the team that replied. Hold on. So Sean, I think this was from our previous, Sean asked, are you able to see data contract reliability over time? And then I saw on here that we had some replies. So I don't know if you want to add anything to this, but that was a question.
Yeah, so I am not an expert here, but it looks like, so we do have the ability to display verification or validation over time, just in general. And so I imagine that this is, you know, that same functionality would exist, but I'll defer to these guys.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. Shashanka and Harshal, I just like to, I know you answered, but let's get this answered on screen if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So the first one, data contract reliability over time. Not yet. It's a great idea. We've jotted it down. We're gonna see what we can do there. The other question.
But just to add some color to that, okay, we do have assertion reliability over time. So on a per assertion basis, you can actually see how it's performing over time. Since data contracts are just an aggregation of assertions, it would be pretty easy, but it's a great idea to support just the bundle of assertions as one entity and showing its reliability over time.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Without further ado, thank you, Harsha, Shashanka. Thank you, Sean, for the question. So I'm going to go ahead here now and readjust our screen and bring on our guest. So just give me 1 second here. Let me bring back on Felipe and let me bring up on Surukara. Hello, hello. Hi, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so are you guys ready to rock and roll here?
Ready.
Yay! Okay, I'm so excited. This is awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull you guys up on the screen here, and then we are going to rock and roll. Give me 1 second here. Super excited here. All right. Okay. So without further ado, everybody, welcome Felipe and Surukara. They are from Zynga. If you guys don't know, super awesome. I mean, a matter of fact, Felipe, you told me yesterday that you guys were acquired by the company that started auto theft. Sorry, tell me again, so everybody knows.
Take-Two.
Yeah, tell me again so everybody knows that you guys were acquired by Grand Theft Auto. Is that correct?
No, actually, about a year ago, Zynga, was acquired by Take-Two, which it's a big console game studio, which owns Red Dead Redemption, Take-Two, Red Dead Redemption, GTA, and a lot of other big titles.
Very nice. Okay, so I know we're running a little bit behind, but we saved the best for last. So go ahead and rock and roll.
All right. Hi everyone. Today I'll be sharing with you all how we are leveling up data management with DataHub. Zynga is one of the market leaders in mobile games with a huge portfolio of games. We are extracting insights from data like 24/7, and that is basically the core of our business. I'm Felipe Gusmao, and with me is my teammate Sudhakara. We are both data engineers responsible for Zynga's DataHub infrastructure, ingest jobs, and all of the custom modifications we added to it. At Zynga, we have a large team working on and off with DataHub, and today I'll be speaking on behalf of the team. We have a little bit more than 100 games released, and you can find them on both Android and iOS stores. We ingest on a daily basis roughly 35 billion records, which translates to around 6 terabytes of data. In total, we have 1.5 petabytes of queryable data. How we consume all of this, right? We have about 100,000 queries per day, and we are generating about 4,000 reports daily. We are a team of around 300 plus analysts, data engineers, data scientists, PMs, extracting insights from this data. On our tech side, we use DataHub as our data catalog dictionary, and our future plan is to use for governance. We use Redshift as our data warehouse, Airflow to orchestrate all of our data jobs and pipelines, Tableau for reports, Databricks and EMR for Spark and machine learning. And we use Kubernetes for a variety of different APIs, cron jobs, and other services. Our initial evaluation of DataHub was back in mid 2021. Back then, we looked around for a data catalog tool, and DataHub was a clear winner. Then we created a small POC to evaluate its capabilities, and we saw a huge potential for it to be much more than a data catalog tool. In the start of 2022, we started developing our deployment strategy, and what surprised us was the amount of growth we saw both in the community and the number of integrations. We decided to use DataHub because it enabled us to mainly to know our data. We needed a tool to help us know our data better and answer questions such as, where does this data from this report comes from? What experiment will be affected if I change my data set? When was this data set last updated? What are the dependencies between data sets and jobs? In terms of quality, we wanted a place to help us assert the quality of our data sets. And in regards to flexibility, we want to be able to set up actions based on important metadata updates. Some other use cases we had was in regards to exploration. Like I said, getting to know our data, assessing impact based on issues. In regards to optimization, we wanted to, like, DataHub has been helping us a lot, cleaning up things, finding out what's being used and what's not being used. And in regards to documentation, we are using DataHub as a central repository for all of our metadata, and it's generally helping us become like fully data driven. So how does DataHub look like in Zynga, right? We are using version 0.10.4. We have over 100,000 assets ingested. Our ingestion sources are Redshift, Airflow, Tableau, Databricks, and the other ones you can see on the screen. For Redshift in Airflow, we kind of took the existing code and we made some modifications. We actually, based on this town hall, we might even reconsider now just using the original version that probably got a lot better since we started. But we had to customize the code a little bit, do some SQL parsing, because Redshift SQL syntax is a bit different than a regular SQL. And we did some customized ingestion logic for both Redshift and Airflow. We created another brand new entity. We call it experiments entity based off shards. And also we had a ton of learning just by implementing this new entity. And not only that, having to deploy that new entity in custom code was a huge learning opportunity for us. Or usually we update sources depending on the type. Is going to be either weekly or daily, but our main objective is to have real time, for all real time changes to update, to be reflected in DataHub. Our current deployment we can say that is mainly divided in two parts. One is using managed services, and the other one is components deployed on Kubernetes. For Kafka or MySQL database and the cache and the search store, we are using AWS managed services. And on Kubernetes, we are deploying DataHub front-end, GMS, and schema registry using the Helm chart. But like I said, we have some custom code, so we also build those images locally and then publish them. For all of our ingestion, we have custom Python jobs and services that we deploy to AKS to make all of this happening. All our logs are piped to Splunk, and we do we monitor all of these components and the health of everything on Datadog. Now demo time, so expect things to fail. Can you put the screen up? Okay, nice. As you guys can see, this is our main DataHub page. Right, we have our main assets, and I just wanted to quickly show you guys one of our data sets which has some data assertions. And as the gentlemen were speaking previously, we can see the assertion over time. So right, we can see, and in this case, this data set is passing all of the assertions, so we got a green check mark here, and we have some other ones, and we can see them over time. This is quite helping us a lot. And everybody likes graph, and everybody likes to come to this page here and just kind of visualize the lineage. Here we can see where this data set is being used, and we can trace down all of its other dependencies. And when things fail, we can kind of find out what is affecting that failure, or like what happened for it to fail. So this is something we use often, and we incentivize all of our analysts to do when they're having issues. Okay, this is our short demo. Back to the slides, please.
One second here. I'm going to pull back up your slides there. Thank you for the demo, by the way. So I was looking here. I see that we have a comment with John saying that the demo is beautiful, and you kind of had it small. So could you just elaborate a little bit on what we were seeing in the demo?
Which part of the demo? The lineage?
It's a lineage. Yeah.
Oh, it's lineage. Okay, I got it. All right. I just wanted to, because it was very small, but I think that everybody who's watching was very excited. All right, go ahead.
So basically, we use the lineage to find out dependencies, right? And just kind of trace things down to all, like from raw data source all the way down to which Tableau resource is using that data source and all the intermediate steps between. So lessons learned, I know we are running short on time. I'll be brief. Along the way, we had some issues with long running jobs in which we had to we were seeing some weird bugs, and we had to allocate the right resource. Our GSM and front end deployments didn't had enough resource allocated to it. When I mean by resource, I mean CPU and memory. So after fixing that, things started running much better. Upgrades were we had some bumps along the way in regards to upgrades, especially upgrading and releasing our custom changes and upgrading DataHub's version. Initially, we had some issues by not following the right order of things, but after consulting the documentation, which is great, by the way, thanks guys for this awesome documentation. We were able to solve all of our issues, and things are running much smoother now. And all of our customization of the code and new entities and custom ingestion code, that was we had a ton of learning just by doing that and getting to know in depth how DataHub is structured. So for us, what's next is we're gonna make sure that our metadata is accurate by capturing everything we can, both success and failure of Airflow DAGs, and heavily utilizing great expectations in data assertions. We might even take a look at data contracts now, integrate more sources, and also use the action framework for notifications and observability. Please reach out, play one of our games, and if you love coding, data, programming, don't hesitate to send us a message. Me and Sudhakar, we are available on LinkedIn, as you can see the address here, or also ping us on DataHub Slack. We'll gladly help you with sharing some more pain points and our struggles along the way. Thank you.
So, and one last thing, I would like to take an opportunity to thank you, Shashank and Acryl team and the community making this awesome product, and we are benefiting from that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Let me I'm gonna go ahead actually and pull everyone back on the screen here for us to do our final conclusions. Let me get Shashanka here and Harshal and kind of whole gang. Hello everybody, we made it. This was awesome. Okay, so first and foremost, thanks for everybody who left their comments in the chat. We appreciate it. And I want to say special thanks again to our guests, Felipe and Sudara. That was super duper awesome. And we're excited to see you guys are going to use the action framework. So I always want to ask the team, do we have any parting thoughts from Shashanka, Maggie, or Harshal before we kind of close this off and I let everybody know what's next?
I would say our Airflow integration got a huge uplift. So I know the title was like data contracts, but actually it's Airflow done 10 times better this time. So I think
Yeah,
definitely check it out.
definitely. We are also interested in that airflow integration. We are going to try it out first.
Definitely try it out. And there's some interesting stuff coming down the pike with data products and structured properties. We'll do a deeper dive on it next time. It's actually a very cool feature because it allows extensibility in a way that wasn't possible before. So really excited about things that are happening, and really cool to see the great adoption that Zynga has had. And thank you so much for stepping in last minute. I know Chime had a last minute issue, a personal medical issue, as a result of which they were not able to present today. So they'll be showing up at the next town hall. And thank you to the Zynga team for stepping up at short notice.
Our pleasure.
It's our privilege, Lanka, and you guys are building a great product, and we're getting benefit from that. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for that. Shashanka, Maggie, Harshal, anything you guys want to add before we step off?
Thanks, everyone. Always, I mean, honestly, it's like amazing how far the community is and the product has come just in such a short amount of time, and love to see the success stories from you guys. So really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Please, I put the link on the bottom. Please make sure you guys join us in Slack. It is rock and roll time. We want to see you guys at DBT and Snowflake Data World. I think Shashanka, which I forgot to mention, is presenting virtually at some open source conference, November the 15th. So I'll go ahead and post that. But you guys join us, comment, come in. We have a lot of exciting things coming in the fall, and take care. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.